Hello?
Is this Ricardo?
Yes.
Hey, this is Errol Collins. How are you doing today, sir?
Arrow, great to speak to you. I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm very excited to talk with you as well because, we need leaders in this country that are willing to teach people how to take that step out of that box and start growing a product. And you have got something here with Crash Course that just opens up so many imaginations.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I did. That Crash Course tells the whole story of this company that I started. Following an idea and a vision, but that didn't go as I hoped it would go. I'm not sure how much you want me to dig down there.
I'll tell you what I love about the book, and this is what listeners need to understand, is that you are very transparent and very truth-filled when it comes to the struggles. It didn't just happen overnight, that you had perseverance, you had passion, you had loyalty, you stood there and you took it all in.
Yes, I think what happens when we have a company and we start full of optimism, and we have some setbacks, some challenges that we overcome with more optimism and more original thinking, being more creative. But at some point, when you spend 1, 2, 3 years and you're not getting the traction that you expected because of so many circumstances that you didn't even consider, then that's when it affects us as people, and I feel like we lose this part of the humanity aspect to entrepreneurship. This is something that's not very much talked about. If I may, I'll share that there's lots of books about startups. They will tell you about the technical aspects about how to build a company, but they don't talk about the person that is actually building the company.
You're so right about that. And I've always heard that story about the 2 years. You've got to give it the 2 years, the dedication and the loyalty. And then from there, you got to start making bigger decisions because you want everything to work out.
Yes, you want everything to work out, and more often than not, as statistics says, 90% of startups don't pass a couple of years. So that means that all these founders have expectations that did not materialize. So what happens when things don't go your way? I think you need to find a balance between committing to your vision and pulling from the most commonly assumed resources in a founder, which are grit, conviction, determination, sticking to it. But at the same time, you need to be developing some sensitivity and awareness to see what is the market telling you.
That's a very interesting point right there. What is the market telling you? Especially when it seems that nowadays we want brand new every day. And so when you have a product that is starting to sell, how do you keep it fresh and keep that market activated and really interactive with what you're doing?
Yes, so that's one thing. How do you keep that traction? But at the same time, there's so much noise out there.
Yes.
I heard a statistic that I don't even know if it's true. I haven't checked it, but it wouldn't surprise me that every year, more products come to market than products are already in the market, which is just incredible. Right now, we live in this world in which lots of people, lots of creators, lots of entrepreneurs. They have an idea and they want to put it out there in the world, and it's very complicated. And not always the best product wins. As one friend told me, nobody, even though you have the best product, nobody's going to buy it if they don't know about it. And that was my challenge.
So but see, the one thing that I'm learning from this book, Crash Course, is that you played this like a game of chess. First of all, you had to know the market. You located the customer, the distributor, the investors. I mean, you set up your game, and all of a sudden you started moving your players, and that's how you win.
Yes, that's how you win. But that's exactly. I guess that's how you win. You need to again understand what your product, your customer, and develop. If you're going to scale something, it needs to be a business model that works. I mean, how does this company make money? And we developed, let's say, a small, medium scale for logistics without even understanding exactly how we were going to make money. Yeah. And that was one of the mistakes that I made. I went too much in for an idea when it was just an idea, instead of having validated that idea. And I'm sure that having more capital from the beginning would have made the path so much easier. But not only I was a first-time entrepreneur, but something that I also remind people is that lots of us are first generation entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
The same way that we ask about first generation of immigrants here, or first generation of students who graduated from college, there's also a first generation of entrepreneurs in our families that we pretty much need to figure out everything from scratch, and that makes it so much harder.
When it comes to that customer, how did you get your research? Because there are many times that do we trust the research? Is it good research? Did it really? Because in radio, what we do, when we go on there and we do a break, we have to envision who it is that is receiving what it is that we're delivering. And that is, who is she? How many kids does she have? What car does she drive? And you break it down with everything that you're doing. And I'm sure you went through the same exact thing.
Yeah, so there's two parts to that. I went to a little bit of that, but at the same time, because I didn't think that research was going to be so conclusive, in a way, I disregarded it because I had so much energy and willingness to see my idea in the world that even though the research would have told me that the product wasn't needed or valued, I would still have wanted to see that for myself. So, which has been a very different story. So again, I wanted to make this idea happen, and I'll share. We did toys in the shape of countries for kids to learn about the world from the point of view of play and education. And we had a bigger vision to connect the kids of the world through an app, perhaps a theme park, movies, all the jazz. And I believed in it so much that I think no amount of research would have convinced me not to go all in with that. However, and this is something that one of the things that I've learned that I think it's very different from what I'm doing now. So with this book, ironically, in this book in which I share the story of my startup that didn't work and what I learned, and there's some deeper lessons about the humanity and the person of the founder. But ironically, now that I wrote this book, I knew exactly who I was writing it for. And it was for the founder. It was to the person that I was 10 years ago, trying so hard to make my company succeed, and then confronting all these challenges that I didn't see coming. So again, in this case, I am very clear who the ideal reader would be: a founder, a creator, a business owner, who is putting everything on the line, and then it's just overcoming one challenge after the other. And that usually has an emotional impact when things don't go your way. I will share, and I'm not sure how deep we have time to go, but when we have expectations and they're not met, these end up over developing emotions of frustration, regret, confusion. We question ourselves, and the last place that we look for clarity or understanding is ourselves, and we treat ourselves like a black box. We just try to go harder and bigger and quicker, instead of thinking, well, hold on, what's happening within me? Because maybe if I was a little bit more clear, a little bit lighter, a little bit softer with myself, then I wouldn't be adding so much stress to this project that I'm trying so hard to make happen.
Being that founder and that creator, one thing I've learned about business is you've got to surround yourself with a great team that you trust. How long did it take for you to bring those players into that game so that you knew that you were headed in the right direction? Yeah,
so this is where I think the ideal world that you're describing meets reality. I think if you have money and if you're lucky to know these people, I think that's what you're picturing is the ideal scenario. I started with a friend who shared my vision, but he was working full time. And then my budget was extremely limited because it was my savings. So it was a struggle of finding people who would want to work with me because they love what we were doing. Some of them did it mostly pro bono. We found some people online. So I wouldn't say that I was able to put the most talented team that it was out there, but I think it was the best that we could do with the resources that we had.
Did you run into a lot of walls when you said that I have this product that I want to take around the entire world? Because there had to have been some people that said, Ricardo, come on, that's a pretty big thing. But yet you have that fire. You've got that drive to make things happen.
All right. So I did have that. Exactly. I had that drive. And and that's, but sometimes I guess it's not enough because, or maybe it is. So there's this drive, But at the same time, I think we live in a very ambiguous world, and very often I will get extremely positive feedback. And I can share a story. This is what happened. This is what happened on the very exact same day. I think it was 4 years into the company. Somebody in South by Southwest. I used to live in Austin. That's where the story happens in the book. But someone recognizes me in the audience, and they called me by the name of my company, and they said, "Plushkies?" Yeah, that's not me, but that was my company. And they said, "Yes." So they recognized me, and they told me, since we bought our kid your toys, they have been going to bed 6 months with them, and they just can't separate themselves from their toys. They really love your toys. So that happened one morning, and the very same day, I got an email from a potential investor telling me, "What you're doing is a total waste of time and money."
Ooh.
Yeah. So again, it's not that I think what makes entrepreneurship hard. It's not that nobody wants what you do, or that everybody. I think it's very unusual that everybody would understand what you're doing and want it from the beginning. But it's like so many mixed messages, so much ambiguity. This ideal world. If I try one more thing, if I do one more sale, if I get connected to the right person. So we always end up living in a fantasy world, hoping for a better day. There's so long that we can live in an illusion, I feel.
Yeah, because I can totally relate with you on that, because so many times when you have that one good day, you say, okay, I just had it. And then you want another one. So, but the next 4 or 5 days are not so good, but you still have that stamina to keep growing forward. But we start living off those one day onlys. And how do you get it to where it's now 1 week, 1 month? Now we've got a successful year.
Yes. So I don't know, because you have one good day, like you're saying, and then you start again, and you still have the stamina. But sometimes you just don't know what the best course of action is. Let's say your strategy is not working. So what you're doing is not working. Do you question your strategy? Let's say maybe you're facing the wrong clients, or maybe you just need to double commit to execution. And at some point, I think I became so confused that it wasn't a problem of stamina. It was a problem of clarity. I wasn't even sure exactly what was the best thing for me to do the following day.
And yet, the book spells it out. I mean, and that's one of the things. I mean, and I'll bet you when you went in there as the author of this book, you were also the student, and you learned from your experiences, because there's so much going on inside this book that people need to go in there with a yellow highlighter and jot down their favorite parts so they too can activate it.
Well, I very agree, and I will share something even more ironic with you. I even feel like I have to read my own book these days.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because now I just published this book almost a month ago, and I will be very frank. The reviews that I'm getting from the founders that have read it, they're outstanding. I think they really can tell that it's a story of honesty. But at the same time, I wish the promotion was going a little bit quicker. Yeah. So I guess we all have this desire to go faster, and sometimes when these desires or expectations are not met, I feel like, what else can I be doing? And I feel like I need to read my own book to understand myself a little bit better. Yes. Yeah.
But when you're messing around with toys and getting children to love your toys, the thing is, though, is that Toys R Us now out of business. You've got Amazon that is taking over, and you don't get to put my hands on it. So it's like, how do you take your toys and put it in our household if all of these other people are just going, well, we got to do the best we can do, Ricardo. Where do you want to plant them?
Yeah, I wish I had the answer, because, and then what I feel like it's not enough to just even put because we were able to put our toys on Amazon, and we put them in a couple of stores, but then that's the initial step. Then we need a final, let's say, customer kid, parent to buy them. Yep. And then what I learned was that kids, more often than not, they want toys that either they see on TV or that their friends have, right? So it's not enough sometimes to overcome this first hurdle to be in the store. Then it needs to call attention in some way. And when there's no marketing, people don't understand the brand. I guess people want to choose always something that they know about. So it was hard, this marketing problem. That's what I wasn't able to figure out, and ultimately it costed our company.
I just have a feeling that if you walk onto an airplane right now, you're going to start seeing people, as those businessmen, reading your book as they wait for their flights to take off, because this is one of those books where businessmen are going to pick it up and they're going to have that time to read it and study it.
Yeah, a friend today. I mean, I have lots of friends that are entrepreneurs, and I'm really surprised, grateful, and I get emotional now after I share this. Out of the blue, I get screenshots telling me, "I love this paragraph because they relate to the purity of the story." And something that really surprised me is that even successful founders, they relate as much, because even though they have ended up being successful, the amount of challenges that they had to overcome, it's just incredible. So I think this is a story for every founder.
Wow. Where can people go to find out more about you and to really give you lots of love, especially get their hands on these toys so that they can, help your journey grow forward? Yeah,
so Amazon.com, I think that's the easiest way to find the book. Crash Course, Ricardo Jiménez. It's also in Barnes & Nobles, and even in some physical stores, which I'm not sure where in the country they are, but sometimes I've gotten pictures from the book in the physical store. But yeah, Barnes & Noble, Simon & Schuster, and like I said, Amazon. And of course, I love to get your love in our website. There's links to my LinkedIn, to my Instagram, and my website is Ricardo. I won't spell that. I'm going to assume that most people will understand how to spell it. But Ricardo JimenezH.com. RicardoJimenezH.com.
You got to come back to this show anytime, Ricardo. The door is always going to be open for you. When you got a new product, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get people to talk about it as well. If we can talk about it, they're going to want it.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's talk in a few months. I'd love to share progress, see how my entrepreneurial startup story now with my book is going. So let's do this.
Absolutely. Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Thank you very much. You too.